My name's Harrell Fletcher, and I'm an artist who lives in Portland, Oregon, and I've been doing work of a collaborative, participatory nature for over 30 years. And the piece that's included in the exhibition is referred to as Veda's Bibles and is a series of digital prints that I helped facilitate the production of with a woman who I met in San Antonio, Texas, who was living at the time on the streets and making these highlighted Bible pages that were visible just when you walked by on the street. So I noticed them and then struck up a friendship with her, and eventually we figured out how to make these prints and show them too. Once I had met Veda, she was consistently in this one spot, which was next to a church that she had a relationship to. I really just stumbled on her there, but I was just intrigued by what I saw that she was working on. And when I realized how exhaustive it was, not only was I struck by the visual quality of the spread that she was working on at the moment when I first saw her, but also realizing that she'd done this to hundreds, thousands of pages, because it wasn't even the only Bible she'd worked on. She'd done several others. I asked her if I could help her out in any way. The thing she wanted was markers to continue the project and phone cards so that she could call her daughter from time to time. I understood that it had a very significant religious component to her, and she talked to me about that as well. And when I said maybe this would be interesting to enlarge these and print them, when I showed her all of that process, and she liked what she saw. And then at some point, I couldn't get a hold of her, couldn't find her. She wasn't in the usual place. Nobody that I asked knew anything about her. But at some point, the person who ran the gallery contacted me and said that someone from your museum wanted to purchase the works, which was exciting and unexpected. But I knew that what I wanted to do was figure out how to get that money to Veda. After a while, I was surprised to find out that she'd been tracked down. I was able to get back in touch with her, tell her what had happened. She got the money. The first thing that she did was she asked for a meeting with the minister and gave him 10% of the money she had just received, and specifically said she wanted it to go to buy sleeping bags for other people who were experiencing homelessness. It felt pretty consistent with my sense of who I thought she was. She told me just very casually that she'd basically sent all the rest of the money to her daughter so she could buy a car or truck so she could get to work. And then we continued to talk for a little while, and then once again she disappeared. Years later, I got an email that she had died. My own desire is to see a more sort of permeable relationship between these kinds of institutions and the world, and the people who are sort of accredited and the people who are not accredited, and sort of loosening all of that kind of stuff up. If we were to look at Jesus, he was always throwing these things off. Like, the expectation is supposed to be this warlord guy, and then he comes in on a donkey and doesn't do anything like that. He's supposed to be hanging out with rich people and high up religious people, and he's hanging out with all these poor people and prostitutes and sick people and stuff like that. I just think that that's interesting. And the fact that this is the model that we're supposed to be sort of following if we subscribe to Christian beliefs or ideology, that's a really, to me, very cool and unexpected model. But I like it. Why not do this in reality? Not in any way that I'm behaving like Jesus exactly. I'm just saying, as an example, if that's what we're following, then I think that it's a good thing to mix these things up and throw off the expectations and look to, in this case, someone who's just on the street and realizing that maybe their work should be in a museum.